Welcome to Brittney on the Bluff, brought to you each weekday by our fine sponsors, Today's Computers, Whitworth's Gift Chest Jewelers, First Community Bank, and Key Drugs in Poplar Bluff. Joining us in the studio this morning, we have Butler County Sheriff Mark Dobbs. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Brittney.
How you doing today?
Great.
Are you ready for Christmas?
No. You want to hear the truth or that I'm ready for Christmas?
No, I was looking for the truth.
Definitely not ready for Christmas just yet. Well,
Sorry,
I'm pretty close.
cold.
I'm probably
up there.
closer than I've been in years. I've got just
Really?
a few stops to make here or there.
And I'm just opposite. What was that? Is that a train whistle?
Yeah, there'd be a cell phone going off there while we're trying
You got a
to talk.
train whistle ringtone. Hey, I kind of like that.
Probably the busiest cell phone in town right there.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, well,
So, yeah,
big holiday season, and gosh, less than a week away. There's always going to be some holiday-related safety issues. Thought maybe we could discuss some of those today. Is
Yeah,
that cool?
the biggest thing is anybody who sees me around town, the first thing they say is, "You've been busy."
Yeah.
And yeah, we have. This is a busy time of year. It's, as I always say, 'tis the season to be stealing. And
Yeah,
for
do we
whatever
always
reason,
see an increase in that? Yeah.
every year around Christmas, there's more theft, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is the pressure of the holidays and the financial pressures that are put on those who aren't working or unwilling to work. But then also, a lot of work is seasonal. We also see.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I hadn't
so
thought about that.
a lot of people's jobs slow down during this financially difficult time of year.
Sure.
So it's not uncommon for crime to go up, whether it be through a financial need. We see a lot of domestic disturbances seem to pick up too, because that seasonal work, people are around each other a lot more, cooped up in the house in these
Stuck
cooler
together
conditions.
more.
And you
Yeah,
put
I
families
can see
in around each other too much, and you've got an ingredient there for problems. So,
Especially if you put a little alcohol in the mix.
absolutely.
Or something.
You mix it with alcohol, you've
just-
got an instant problem. So
yeah.
yeah,
Even for families.
if it snows and the roads are bad for a day or two, by that second day you can figure you're going to start having some domestics, because there's some people with cabin fever that are getting tired of each other, and they will start fighting. So that's not uncommon this time of year. And like I said, not to mention the pressures, the financial pressures that are put on people and things to try to provide for their families at Christmas time. And one of the things I see the most that really just breaks my heart, and we've worked a lot of these crimes, had a lot of success solving them, but sometimes we don't, and that's theft under the Christmas tree. Not necessarily burglary, just people who, a friend of a friend of a friend comes over. Everybody starts talking about the things that they've got so-and-so for Christmas. Yeah. Oftentimes there's several hundred, if not thousands of dollars sitting under a Christmas tree. I always fear for people who if they have kids that have a lot of guests over, different guests from time to time. That's not always a good idea this time of year, simply because those friends talk to other friends who talk to other friends who figure out what you have at your home, under your house. Yeah.
Your kids' friends doing
Exactly.
it, but they may have told somebody
Exactly.
about
That's
it.
just it. That's just it. And that third party that hears about it and says, is that a fact? Now,
Got
another
that new
thing
video
too,
game system or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm. Isn't that a shame?
It is very much a shame, and theft is more fashionable than it was when I was a kid. I mean, I can remember just 25 years ago, you were an outcast if you were a thief. But these days, it's almost more fashionable, and that's very sad, but it's true. So, limiting the amount of guests that you have in and out of your house, and the things that they see, and the things we show off, or the things we talk about, is not always a good idea.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen more than once. And
wow.
have a get together of. Teenagers have a get-together, and they'll have friends of friends come over and that kind of thing, and before you know it, you've got someone in the group who's not trustworthy, and there's that potential for bad things to happen. So
I think you're right on that whole it being more fashionable thing, though, because I've kind of noticed that attitude change too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's just so sad.
It is sad because,
I mean, really,
yeah.
where's the society headed
Mm-hmm.
when things like that become acceptable?
Absolutely, absolutely. And to me, I mean, stealing that's pretty low down on the food chain
Yeah,
there.
me
I
too.
mean,
I
that's
think so too.
one of the most despicable things that someone can be is a thief, to take and take the things from somebody that they've worked hard for to get. And the funny thing is, in their mind, a lot of times in a thief's mind, the way that their mind is so corrupted is that if they can steal it, it's fair game. That's the same as going and working for it. If I break into your house and steal it from you, that's the same as me
That
going
is
and working
pretty
40
warped,
hours
yeah.
for it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they look at it as, it's fair game. And recently, this last month, we even had, thankfully, we were able to get their items back, but we had a church that was burglarized even. And so and that's not uncommon for churches to be burglarized in every community. That is how far down, thievery has stooped to. Could you imagine that? I mean, we all have our
It's like you got no fear at all.
no,
I mean,
not at
really.
all. And I mean, you obviously have no fear of the afterlife,
Right,
because we're all going to have enough trouble explaining for the things we've done on
Yeah.
this planet.
Just
when
the
it comes our
normal
day.
bad things.
Yeah. And
Oh,
I mean,
man.
my book of life is going to be bad enough when it's opened up and I have to answer for those things. I sure wouldn't want to have to answer for breaking into the Lord's house and taking things from it. So
Did you say you were able to catch
Yeah, we
them?
were.
Oh,
We were
excellent,
able to
excellent.
get probably about 99% of the equipment back. And
Oh,
usually,
good,
it's
good,
musical
good, good.
equipment, those kind
Yeah,
of
that's
things.
the thing churches
So,
have.
yeah,
There's a
they
lot
do.
of electronic kinds of
Right.
stuff, computers, like you say, sound equipment, that kind of thing. That's usually about the only thing of value actually in churches.
Yeah, and
So somebody that's breaking in there is specifically looking for those kinds of things.
Absolutely.
How do you even market something like that after you? I mean, do pawn shops and stuff not get reports of these kinds of things anymore?
That's one of the
or-
biggest misconceptions, is that things go to pawn shops. They actually seldom go to pawn shops. Pawn
Really?
shops have to keep a record and then
Yeah,
provide us a
that's what I
record
was
of
thinking.
everything that they take in.
So they look for other places
So
to
yeah,
move 'em.
yeah, and unfortunately, that's one of the things we try to concentrate on, is the fences, as we call them. The people who will buy this kind of stuff take it. They take it all over the place. They take it out of state to auctions and things like that. And unfortunately, in this world, Brittney, there is a lot of so-called good people who will buy anything if they get it at the right price and not ask any questions. How their conscience doesn't bother them to do that, I don't know, but it does happen. Where they so-and-so sold me this gun for $100, and I don't know where he got it. I'm not asking. Well,
If they don't know, then they think they're blameless or something.
Yeah, right. That's how they justify it in their mind. Is as long as I don't ask the question, then it can't be put on me. Well, actually, that's still, you're committing a crime yourself, receiving stolen property. And when you get things at so far below a fair market value, you have to know, a reasonable thinking person knows whenever they're getting something that should be of a lot higher value.
Too good to be true usually means
Yeah,
too good
and
to be true.
given the reputation of the person that you're getting it from, usually these folks, they know what they're getting. They just don't want to admit it to themselves or to others. And but that's the unfortunate thing, is there's people in every community that are willing to buy these items for whatever they cost, and for whatever, however cheap they can get them, take them out of state, resell them. And that's how it happens.
Yeah,
But
isn't it true that if you buy something that's stolen and an investigation somehow leads to you, that you're just going to lose what you bought anyway?
yeah, absolutely. You
So
are.
really, what's the point of it?
You are.
Because you're risking, even if you only paid $100 for it, you're risking losing your $100 in the thing too.
Absolutely. And I mean,
Whatever it is.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at night just if I didn't know for sure. If I bought something that, if I didn't know for sure that it wasn't somebody who was missing that property, that worked for it and worked hard for it, and then put in their 40 hours to buy that thing. And no matter how good of a deal, there is something. I hear merchants all over town talking about this one or that one. They're pretty good about telling us, actually. this one or that one was in with truckload of tools, wanting to sell them for $50, and this guy's not a carpenter, he's not a mechanic, whatever, yada,
Yeah,
yada.
what's he doing with all
And
these
we
tools
track
to
stuff
start
down.
with? Yeah,
Exactly.
That's a really good question to ask
yeah.
yourself when somebody has something like that is, would they really have a purpose of having it to start with?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's
Wow.
the majority of folks will call you and tell you about those kinds of people showing up their businesses, but there's those who, if they can get it at the right price, they're not going to ask any questions. It's a sad fact, but it's true. And that's where a lot of stolen property goes to.
Wow.
When it comes to guns and things like that, usually when we recover those are usually, they're usually not still here locally. They're usually the kind of thing where we get a call from Kansas City or St. Louis or Chicago. A lot of guns go to Chicago.
I can imagine with their crime rate, they've got to come from somewhere, don't they?
Exactly.
Is it vice versa? Do you find when you make arrests sometimes that somebody has a firearm that was reported stolen from another state or a different part of the country?
Right, exactly.
And somehow it made its way here?
Oftentimes that's the case. You don't usually recover firearms from here. Same thing with stolen cars. I mean, they're not recovered here locally usually. Ever.
Huh. I didn't realize that.
And vice versa. When we get a stolen car, it's usually stolen out of somewhere else. But, yeah.
No, I didn't realize that. Huh.
One of the big things, too, is I want to remind everybody, just like every other community in the world, we have problems with ATV theft just because they're so easy. What happens there is a lot of times people finance those things, they're not insured, they get stolen, and you're still stuck with that ongoing payment and that debt. And you have no ATV to show for it. They're left in front porches, or behind houses, beside houses, in front yards with the key in them. Even if don't have the key in them, the key switch is so easy to defeat. We see those things, and some of these things are getting pretty high dollar. You have these side-by-side UTVs that cost in the $20,000 range that are disappearing, and people leave them out in their front yard. If you had a $20,000 diamond ring, I guarantee it wouldn't be sitting on your front porch.
You wouldn't think so, would you?
No, you wouldn't think so.
That's why I've always been a little bewildered about that. Because the first time you and I started talking about ATV thefts around here, I started paying attention. When I live out in the country, so when I was driving home and stuff, I'd start looking at these ATVs and yards and stuff and trying to see, is that chained down? And a lot of times you can't see any method of it being secured there. And not only that, but they leave them in places to where you could just pull a truck up or back a truck in and get it in there in a minute and you're gone. They don't even keep them in places where it would be hard to get to. I mean, they're like right in the front yard or something.
Not at all. They don't throw any kind of a lock or anything on them. They just leave them sitting there.
And I'm with you. If it was a diamond ring or a necklace or something, you're not going to leave that sitting out on the front porch.
Yeah, the cheapest four-wheeler you're going to get
deal?
these days is from anywhere from about $4,000 up, brand new. So, none of them are cheap. None of them are cheap. And they're one of those things that they're a pretty lucrative item because they don't have to be registered. They don't have to be taken down to the.
That does make them more attractive.
They don't have to be taken to the DMV and get a registration put on them. They can sit on a farm, behind a house, wherever, out in the bushes, whatever, for eternity, for its entire life, kept at somebody's house. And anybody, when we go to a house out here in rural areas, you're pretty much always going to walk onto a four-wheeler. We don't have the authority, nor would it be appropriate to run every four-wheeler we have. So we might be standing right next to a stolen four-wheeler, and there's no way to tell. So, it's a very lucrative crime.
Yeah, and what a sick feeling to still have to make payments on something you don't even have anymore.
Can you imagine that? Having a $10,000 payment for something you don't even have, you're never going to see again? It's sad.
Wow.
Yeah. Sure
and
is.
People will be getting those for Christmas,
too.
That's always a popular Christmas gift.
They will be.
For the big boys. The
if
toys for the big boys.
If you're going to buy one of those for Christmas, you need to buy a chain and a lock for them while you're at it.
Put that in the stocking.
Yep. It's a pretty small investment compared to the rest of it.
Exactly. Really. And 5 minutes of your time
Yeah.
to ensure that your property is saved.
Yeah.
Safe, just to put it in the garage and lock it up, or chain it down, or whatever. Do something to try to protect yourself.
I go to friends' houses all the times, and they have theirs just sitting out, and I tell them, you're not going to have that long. You leave it sitting out there. And unfortunately, there's thieves that they just have all day to roam the neighborhoods and look for those kinds of opportunities, and they take them. There's pretty good size market for them, especially, and then you get to the southern states with when it comes to anything like that, whether it be flatbed trailers, whatever. So easy to get a title for them, to get it retitled. Boats are the same way in certain states like Louisiana. Very, very easy to obtain another title for it, and you're free and clear.
Is it really?
So,
Huh.
yeah.
So somebody might steal a boat here, just take it down there and unload it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man.
And there again,
And
we're not going to find stolen boats on Lake
you
Wapapello.
ever going to find it after that?
Yeah, they don't stay here close. It doesn't happen that way.
Man.
So
folks,
bear in mind, take a little extra time.
Like I say, 5 minutes, sometimes not even that long, to ensure the protection of your property that you worked hard for.
Yeah.
You
Thievery
know?
has went on since biblical times, so we have to do what we have to do.
Probably not going to go away, is it?
No, it's not. It's not.
No.
It's just too easy for some thugs to take things versus work for them. So it's very
I
frustrating.
think I'm in the
but
wrong
it is what
line
it
of
is.
work. I'm working 14 hours a day. I'm in the wrong line of work here. Aren't I? Well, another thing it seems like every year we talk about this, but we have new listeners every year at the holiday season, and that's those boxes from that big screen TV you're getting for Christmas, or the new computer, or the video system, or, the video gaming systems. I remember the very first time you told me that, and I had honestly never thought of it before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never thought about the fact you get this big gift, you put the box out by your trash can because it's too big to fit in the trash can, and here's somebody driving by that's looking for something to steal, and all of a sudden they know you've got a brand new big screen TV.
Yeah, you've more or less got a billboard out front of your house saying, well, the new things that you
Here's
have inside.
Here's my thing, come get it, whatever it is.
What I have. So,
so what would you suggest on it to
make
protect
sure to break
ourselves?
those things down, break those boxes down to where they can't be seen, put them in the trash can, and make sure they're not just thrown out on the curb.
Cut it up.
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
what it takes.
Another big thing, too, that we overlook that we don't think about is our cell phones. Everybody has a cell phone these days, pretty much, and those things, a lot of times we get them on a plan, so we don't realize how much they cost until we have to go and replace one, and then they're anywhere from $400 to $700.
Yeah.
It's very expensive, especially smartphones. What we see a lot is people at restaurants, at places where they feel comfortable, they'll walk off, go to the bathroom, whatever. It's the same thing as a wallet, as being pickpocketed, basically. You turn around, you turn your back for a minute, and someone can snatch your phone and they're gone. We see this happen from time to time. And,
I had one stolen one time when I was out at a local establishment.
It's not...
I didn't think a thing of leaving it sitting right there on the table.
You don't. You think it's just your cell phone, big deal. But there again, it's that... It's that $500 or $600 or $700 diamond ring theory there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave it sitting on the table there, but you don't think about your cell phone that you get so used to having. Of course, usually mine, by the time they reach the middle part of their life, they don't look like they're worth much. They usually beat to
Well, that's kind
Kingdom
of how
Come,
I
but-
was with the one that got stolen. I really didn't think anybody would want it, to be perfectly honest. And the thing that killed me more than anything was I had some irreplaceable pictures on it. Of a friend that had passed away. That's what broke my heart.
Yeah.
If they would have let me take my pictures off of it, they could have had the phone for that matter, But, that was a real shocker to me that somebody would steal that cell phone that wasn't a brand new one or anything like that. But I guess there's a secondary market for that kind of thing.
There is, and there's an individual market for it, and a lot of these, the newer phones, not so much here recently, but in times past, you steal a phone, you take take your SIM card out, put in another phone, and you're ready to roll.
Ready to go, yeah.
So, yeah.
And isn't there like some gold content or something in those
It is
older cell phones?
There is, but
it wasn't enough to make that.
Okay. That's not really the issue. There is gold in every cell phone, believe it or not, but a
Crazy?
very, very small amount. But It seems like that whenever you go to the phone store and they want $700 for one, it must have
Yeah.
a bar of gold inside
Like it's
of
made
it.
of
But-
gold.
yeah, exactly. But we're carrying around basically a small home computer in our
Yeah.
hand these days with these smartphones. So it makes sense that they're not going to be cheap to replace. And oftentimes, like I say, we get them as part of our plan. We don't think about that.
And even the value of the phone aside, the information you have
that's the biggie
in your
right
cell
there.
phone right now these
Yeah.
days is probably much more valuable than the phone itself.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
A lot of your personal information's in there. A lot of your family pictures, things like that. Contacts. There's a lot of people in my phone that I don't want. Obviously, wouldn't want everybody in the world to have their personal cell phone. There'd have to be a
Sure.
lot of people changing their cell phone numbers, but just so you don't want to let those things get away from you. All your information can be stolen, and then you get into the whole identity theft and that kind of thing. So,
Right. Well, how about the let's talk a little bit about when you're out doing your shopping and stuff.
yeah, that's a big one too.
Ladies,
Leaving that purse in
Yeah.
the shopping cart, turning around,
that's
walking off,
exactly what I was thinking of.
going 2 aisles over, and
Oh,
there sits the
man.
purse.
And boy, talk about something that will mess up your holidays. Somebody stealing your purse with all your contact, all your credit cards, and all
Yeah.
all driver's licenses and all this good stuff. Sometimes a lot of cash this time of year when
Yep.
people are shopping, and that's gone all of a sudden. That will mess up your
Yeah,
Christmas in a hurry.
Absolutely. So, and that's an identity thief's paradise to get a hold of your purse, to take those things, and you get your license, your credit card, all your information on everything in there. Some of the things that you ladies carry in your purse, I think if you could get the house in there and the kids and carry it around in there, you would. But it's just amazing me all the things that are carried
I'm
around.
one of those. I have so much stuff in my purse, it's ridiculous. And the funny
It's like
thing
a survival
is,
kit.
I can't even fit it all in my purse, so I carry another bag too with more stuff in it. You get out you spend the day shopping. You've got several $100s worth of gifts, like you said, sometimes thousands of dollars
Yeah.
that you've spent on gifts. You go out, pop them in the back seat of the car. You turn right around, go into another store, and here's all these bags from different businesses and stuff in plain view. You got to lock your doors.
Yeah,
Let's be
absolutely.
honest.
Absolutely.
Don't think that just because we live in small town America that it's safe to just throw your packages in there and head into the next store. You've got to take some precautions. I've even started keeping like a blanket and some towels and things in my car, and when I do get out, if I don't feel compelled to carry everything in, I've started covering things. If I can't
Not a
fit them
bad
in the
idea.
trunk,
Not a
just
bad
kind of
idea.
cover, just out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. I don't think that means that I'm 100% safe in that area, but I feel more comfortable because I don't think people are going to be breaking out your windows and stuff if they don't know there's something in there.
Right,
Just in a
yeah.
chance that there's something in there.
No, they won't do that. They won't do that usually. Yeah, and usually whenever you talk about, I hear this all the time. I hear somebody say, "I got my car broke into," and I say, "Wait a minute. Did you get it broke into, or
did they just open the door?"
Well, yeah, they
Yeah.
just, yeah, that's what it didn't get broke into. It got opened. It's two different things, and we don't live in the day and age where you can leave your car door unlocked anywhere.
Or your house door.
Anywhere, yeah.
Yeah,
You just
you
can't
know.
do it. You just can't do
Yeah,
it.
I mean, if I'm jumping in to go into a convenience store for 2 minutes, I still lock my doors.
Yeah, thieves are like water. They take the path of least resistance, and if your door's unlocked, yours is the one they're going to go in. So, yeah, and it's we all, unfortunately, myself included, in times past, to keep items of high value inside vehicles, and it's amazing some of the thousands of dollars of things that are kept out in vehicles from time to time that thieves get away with, and oftentimes from an unlocked door.
Yeah.
And
I think I've mentioned this to you before. One of my coworkers lost a computer and a handgun
yeah,
out of his vehicle one night.
those are two items that are very, very common to.
And I was like, "What? They break through your window? What? No." I was like, "Well, how'd they get in?" They opened the door. I was
Pulled
like,
on the handle.
"Are you flipping kidding me?
Yeah.
You had a computer and a handgun in your vehicle with your doors unlocked." That one bewildered me. I have to be honest. That one really threw me for a loop.
Yeah,
I just couldn't believe it.
it's very unfortunate because what happens is you have groups of thieves that go through neighborhoods just pulling door handles all night long, and if they get one or two to open, then they've made their night worthwhile. So, and it seems like as if we take 10 of those out of society and send them away, that 10 more take their place. So it's unfortunate.
Wow.
So keep those doors locked. That's the moral of the story. As I
And
said,
your
thievery's been
home.
here since biblical times. It's going to be here for a lot longer. So lock your doors.
Just not Mayberry
No,
anymore.
it's not.
You know, and you can't.
Even in Mayberry, there was occasional thievery.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Leave those out of towners that came in to rob the bank.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah, you just have to use those precautions and think it through a little bit. I know everybody's got a lot on their mind these days, and particularly with the holidays, you know.
Yeah.
But you just have to take that extra few minutes to think it through, and protect your family, protect yourself, protect your property.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
just a few extra minutes can make the difference.
Exactly. I also like to mention that if you're gone for the holidays, if you're going somewhere out of town, make sure to let us know. We'll do some extra
Yeah, I'm
patrol
glad
on
you
your
brought that
house.
up. I kind of forgot about
whatever,
that. Yeah.
we swing by a time or two, make sure everything's good and secure. Try to remember not to make it look like you're not home. Try to make it look like you are home. Have somebody pick up your mail. Keep a light or two on. If you have an extra vehicle, don't put it in the garage. Put it outside so it looks like that somebody's there. Because that's what thieves look for. They look for the big neon sign that says there's nobody home here, and there's not been anybody home for a while.
Well, you know, one of the things I've always wondered about, and it may just be I'm being paranoid or something, but I always wondered, should you try to make it look like it does when you're home? Because if somebody was like watching your place for an extended period of time, and you always put your cars in the garage normally, and then all of a sudden you're leaving a car in the driveway, they're going to notice that. But it may be that they don't really watch that long.
No, they don't. It's more of a random thing than it is any kind of a pattern thing over a long period of time. It's usually
See,
not
it's
always.
me being paranoid.
But yeah, usually it's somebody driving through a neighborhood one time just looking for houses to burglarize. So it might be one of those things where that's the first time they've been down your road, but they see what looks like to be a empty house or some house that no one's home. If you think about it, how many times you've been to somebody's house, a friend's, who's ever, you knock on the door and you hear a TV, you hear a radio, or there's a light on or whatever, and you think, well, I wonder if he's in there. I hear the radio
TV,
on.
Yeah.
No, burglars will think the same thing. So leave a radio on of some kind. Leave it near the door, those kinds of things. So make it, halfway appear that someone's there.
Well, I just got a text from a friend. We were talking about breaking down your boxes and stuff, and she says Recycle Center, Ozark Foothills, and are going to be having the cardboard dumpster at Walmart from the 22nd through January 20th.
There you go.
So if you are one of those people, you've got some big boxes, you don't want to necessarily cut them into little pieces and stuff, just break them down, take them to Walmart, and drop them off in the recycle dumpster. That's a better move anyway, because it'll get recycled that way. But thank you, Sue Ann.
Yeah,
a
that is
little
good.
tip
That's good
there.
advice. That's
It is.
a good,
I
good
didn't know
place
they
to
were going to
take
be
them
doing
to,
that, so
which
I'm glad she says.
I don't have
so
to
that-
worry about presents being under the tree yet at my house because they haven't got around to wrapping them yet.
I haven't even gotten around to buying them yet.
You might want to get on
I'm
that.
in trouble this
you
year.
do know Christmas is next
I
Thursday.
am not a last-minute shopper because I'll be honest, I don't like the crowds
No, I
sometimes.
don't either.
I generally start mine pretty early, but this year I've just had so much going on. I haven't even started. So this weekend, I'm going to be hitting all the sales.
I have been doing mine a little bit early as I had time, but the thing is I got to stop and divvy it up. I got 5 kids, so I got to
make sure you
try
got-
to equal it out.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
where I'm at right now. So I got to kind of tally things and
Can't
then
get too much more for
yeah,
one than the
no,
others.
No, not at all. 4 of my kids are girls, so I guarantee you they keep track of that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
I'm sure. They're going to be wondering about that.
Yeah,
So,
you betcha.
well, I'm gonna get out there this weekend, and I will be practicing these safety things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that purse like a hawk. Watch my cell phone like a hawk. I'll usually keep my cell phone actually in a pocket, so that it's not visual. It's not out where they can see it. Of course, you've always got pickpockets. Is that
Yeah,
something we
yeah.
ever see around
not,
here?
Not so much.
I've
Not
never
so much.
really heard of any pickpockets
No,
around here.
No, I mean there's.
But if you're going shopping in St. Louis or
Yeah,
Memphis,
yeah,
you
right.
better be watching it. Like you better
Be
keep your
careful.
hands on
Be
it,
careful
kind of
about
thing.
it. So it's a good idea to
Yeah.
put a wallet if you're carrying a wallet, carry it in your front pocket. So yeah.
But I'll be locking my doors,
Yep. There you
covering
go.
my packages up. I'm going to be doing all those things to try to make sure that I don't become a victim during the holiday season. I just think that what a terrible time to be victimized.
Yeah, and remember social media too. We always give too much away on social media, and we say, "Hey, I just got so and so that whatever, that Xbox 360 or that diamond ring or that whatever you get somebody, and you put it out there for everybody to see, and the thieves see that too." So
not only just tell them, they'll usually take a picture of it and say,
yeah,
"Hey,
exactly.
look at my pretty thing."
Look at this. Yeah, we share our every detail on social media. Unfortunately, it doesn't make for the safest circumstance.
Guys, just practice some common sense this holiday season. Lock your car doors. Don't be leaving your vehicles unlocked. Don't be leaving your house unlocked. Come on.
They're going to have to take notes, you know. There's people out there in listener land thinking, okay, don't leave my cell phone laying around. Chain up my ATV. Lock my door.
Seriously, we're saying these things to try to help you out here.
Yeah. I'm saying them because I see these things, not just because they might happen. It's because they do happen. And that's unfortunate.
Isn't it kind of hard for you to stay in that holiday spirit when you're having to deal with stuff like this all the time?
It's tough on officers because, unfortunately, we see even the best people at their worst, usually. When somebody has the thing stolen from them or whatever, they're not in a good mood. They might be the deacon of the First Baptist Church and usually sweet as a peach, but when the time we get to them, not so much. They're aggravated. They want answers. They want somebody to blame. They want, that kind of thing. So, that is the unfortunate part of law enforcement, but it is what it is. I mean, I knew that when I took the job. So. But the best way not to is just not to be a victim and try to make yourself less of a target. Yeah. And do some of those things.
Got to be a tough job. I couldn't do it. No way I could be a law enforcement officer. Well, we spent a lot of time on that. I really didn't mean to spend quite that much time, but I just want to make sure everybody's,
Yeah, we got some good info out there, though.
Taking care of themselves this time of year. You had said last time you were in that you might have some new technology to tell us about soon. Have we gotten to the point where we can share about that yet?
Yeah, we are. We're in the midst of doing a lot of things. Some of it's secretive that we can't tell you about because it's meant to catch thieves. One of them was it kind of revealed itself because we did catch some thieves. You might have heard the situation where we had we have so much copper theft, and we've went out and researched a company that carries a device that attaches to some of these irrigation wells, to grain bins and things like that. And basically what it does is whenever a wire is cut or any kind of power is lost or the device itself is tampered with, we get a text message and a call. The farmer gets one. So it gives the grid coordinates. We're en route to that place while they're still in the act.
I love that.
Oh yeah, it's excellent, and
that's great.
More and more people hopefully will get signed up on that and make copper theft something of the past.
So is that something that if a farmer is interested in that, do they need to contact the sheriff's department?
They can.
Okay.
I think. I'm trying to think of the local dealer that carries that. I think it's one of the people that buys ads from this station.
Oh, nice.
It's, one of the irrigation companies here.
Yeah.
But it's just not springing to mind. But
I love that when technology steps up to take care of a problem, and that
there's
has
so much
become a
technology
huge
out
issue.
there that it's just for sale, and you have to wonder, is that really worth doing or whatever?
Right.
This is worth doing. I mean, because what happens is these, what they call these center pivot irrigation systems, they can cut the wires all the way down them, spanning several hundred feet, and cost a farmer in excess of $10,000 every time they're hit. So,
and we've had farmers in our area that have been hit multiple times.
We have, and that's not uncommon. The Boot Heel,
so
especially Dunklin County and places like that,
there,
they just get wore out with this kind of stuff. The unfortunate part about it is you have farmers who, it's very remote. They farm large tracts of land. They can't be everywhere at one time.
Exactly.
So
They gotta sleep sometime,
They got to
too.
sleep sometime, and the thieves don't usually. So
Yeah, I did
we
hear
need
about
a leg
case
up
with
on
that
them. We need a
lately.
leg up on them to where we can catch them and beat them at their own game. So
Yeah.
that's one of the technological ways that we're taking advantage of things that are out there, so that we can catch the bad guy. There's other things. Hopefully, once the plan comes into place, I'll be able to tell you more about those. One of the things that we are implementing to try to make it a little better system for our operating system for our jail, for our courts, for the unfortunate people who have to visit their loved ones in jail. Because what we see is a lot of times the people that are in jail do bad things, but they have family. They're good people.
Yeah.
And it's very much
They love 'em.
yeah,
You know, they just
absolutely,
love 'em.
absolutely. Very much a strain on those families to come and have to visit these people. They have children, things like that, and they have to come and do a face-to-face visitation with those folks. What we're this coming year are instituting in our jail is something called video visitation, and basically it's a multifaceted thing that gives us a lot of ease. It makes our jail safer. It makes it more secure in the fact that we won't be moving inmates around to visit people, to talk to their lawyers, to do whatever. And it's even going to save us some time taking these folks back and forth to court, to where it's going to be to where a judge can just pull that person up on a screen, talk to them right there. Now, not every court appearance can be handled that way, but a lot of it can. Same with an attorney. If they need to visit with their client, they can just
That's
do
pretty
that,
cool.
that video. There's
I never thought of that.
yeah, there's a means in every pod to where they can just step up to the camera. Same way with visiting their family. They don't have we don't have to have people in and out of our building and worry about the security of that, as
Right.
well as moving the inmates back and forth to the visitation area. They'll just be able to stay right where they're at, get in front of that camera.
Kind of a Skype kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
Wow, I
so,
never thought
yeah,
of it.
yeah, it's a good system. It's also the way that, and then these folks, the way that the jail works as far as getting the things that they need, with regard to shampoo, soap, toothbrush, or anything extra that they need, any of their extra needs in jail. We have a commissary, and most jails do this. We don't allow things to come in from the outside. Families have to come in, put money on the inmates' books and that kind of thing, and it's a long, drawn-out process. And then we have to get a list of the things that the inmate wants for that week. If they're indigent, obviously we provide those items, but they are allowed to order some additional items and whatever, and that the profits from that comes back to Butler County. So that's one way that we bring in money for the county there. But now it's gonna be, along with this video visitation thing, it's going to be simplified to where they can do a lot of this online. They can do a lot of this right from their home. And the same with, it's going to cut out a lot of our workload, because the inmate will be able to fill out their request right there via computer, more or less. That the screen that they'll be doing their visitation on is also a touch screen that they can order their commissary items from, and kind of cut us out of the equation to where we're freed up to do other things, and our administrative staff can do the things they need to and not be bogged down with all that stuff. Another good thing for that is a lot of folks, they have to travel quite a ways to see people in jail sometimes. Sure. Same way with court appearances. Sometimes we have to, it's not uncommon for a person to have a charge in Butler County and one in Stoddard and one in, wherever, St. Francis County.
Right.
We're hoping that this will be a thing that it's a trend to where everybody takes advantage of it. It's internet based, so if a judge in, say, St. Louis wanted to arraign this person, we wouldn't have to take them all the way to St. Louis. They could do it right there on a computer screen, thus saving a lot of money.
Gosh, that would save a ton of money, wouldn't it?
So
Well, and fuel and vehicle
fuel,
maintenance
vehicle, and the
everything.
and the cost of the officers, their man hours of going, taking them, sitting with them, that kind of
Sure,
thing.
yeah.
So yeah, we're
Wow, that should help the budget quite a bit with
hope
that
so.
kind of thing.
We hope
that
so.
kind of stuff,
And
shouldn't
and
it?
it's a thing where there again, the equipment that we brokered the deal in such fashion that the equipment's not going to cost us anything. It's provided by the company, and then we get a commission from every one of those video visitation visits that comes back to the sheriff's department's budget. So win-win.
Nice. You don't even have to buy the stuff.
No, not at all. So
Wow.
the county's out nothing. We're upgrading in technology leaps and bounds. We're not going to have a lot of the security issues, and we get folks that you just wouldn't believe that come to see inmates, and you wouldn't believe the way they're dressed half the time when they do. And fact is, they're sometimes pretty scarcely dressed. Period. So. There's a lot of things there that we get to eliminate, so it's a good system.
That's
it's
pretty
gonna
cool.
save a lot of money and make a little money. So
Man, I'm so
that's always
thankful
good.
for people. It's amazing to me that somebody comes up with an idea like that. My brain doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I wish it did. That I could look at something and go, now here's an application for that in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Skype for officers kind of thing, Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff out there like that.
That's
It's just a
awesome.
matter of everybody
Yeah.
getting on board with it and doing it. Technology is
Right.
right now. It's in my opinion, or not right now, but in the past, it's been kind of something more for entertainment value than anything.
Yeah.
A lot of the technology that's out there, but now it's coming into a very practical use for law enforcement, and we got to take advantage of that. And one of the things I've always promised is to try to keep up with the technology side of things and not be left behind. And we're getting it done. Always try to take a step ahead.
Well, I like that. I like that very much. Hopefully you can tell us about some more next time.
Yep, absolutely.
Maybe.
Absolutely. We never stop trying to build on things.
Well, just a few minutes left in today's show. It just flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. We get to gabbing and it's gone.
Yeah. But I wanted to kind of ask you, I talked with one of your deputies about the whole Ferguson thing in the past. And I'll be perfectly honest, I thought by now it would be a non-issue, but it's not.
Yeah, it's an
It's
unfortunate.
not. It's still hanging around, causing problems.
It is, and unfortunately, there's those in the world who have nothing better to do but try to get down on law enforcement and try
Stir
to
up a bunch of poo.
yeah, and try to make it look like everybody is painted with the same broad brush,
Right,
and everybody does business just alike. Of course, there's been. The Ferguson thing. My biggest take on that is I'm very disappointed with our leaders. I very much am. No doubt I'm disappointed with the writing, with all the nonsense, with all the misinformation that's been out there. I could go on and on about that. But the biggest thing that I take from the Ferguson thing is the lack of condemnation by our leaders about what went on there. I talked to a lady about 2 weeks before the Ferguson, before the grand jury verdict came back and all that, and she was telling me about how the schools were already going to be shut down. They already expected trouble, and that she just wanted it to be over with, and that the majority of people from Ferguson weren't a part of that.
That's what I've been told by a lot of people.
It was a mess that was stirred up by people from the outside that don't even live there.
Yeah.
The Al Sharptons of the world and those folks who flew in, and that's their business, is to stir up trouble like this. That's how they make their money, and bring this trouble to somebody else's community, watch it get burned down, and then pack up and leave. And then they're left all these businesses. There's so many people who lost everything that they had invested their whole life into these small businesses that are now burned to the ground because these pot stirrers came in to this community, stirred the pot, got it heated up nice, and everybody on edge.
Over.
And got the pot bubbling over, and then they left.
Yeah.
And then they left.
It's ridiculous.
And nobody stopped and said, "Hey, this is wrong." And the rioting and all that, you can sit and you can try to justify it, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, in your mind. you can sit and say, well, it's because this or that. Bottom line, it's against the law. What they were doing, they were committing numerous felonies. And it was the policy of our government, of our state government, to sit back and watch that happen.
And just let it happen. Yeah.
And that to me is just appalling. I know, we've talked, several of us around here in Butler County and surrounding law enforcement about how we hope that we would never, ever let things get out of control to that degree, nor will we stand back and watch them happen the way that they happened in Ferguson, Missouri. And, people can get as mad as they want to get, I suppose, but that don't mean they have the right to go burning innocent people's businesses to the ground, breaking in, stealing shoes, stealing stereos, stealing alcohol, whatever it is.
That was a lot of people just waiting for an excuse.
For an opportunity to act like animals.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And
they weren't really motivated by the actual shooting.
No,
they weren't
weren't.
motivated. It was just people looking for an opportunity to get crazy.
Right. Exactly.
And they let them get by with it. That's what that's the scary
back
part
and
of it.
watched it happen.
Let them get by
and
with it.
To me, it was even to some degree encouraged. Very, I have no shortage of criticism of our government for how that situation was handled, because no one ever stepped in and said, "Hey, this is wrong. Knock it off." No one had the intestinal fortitude to stand up and say that this shouldn't happen, it shouldn't be allowed to happen, and if it happens. But what we had was our governor on the TV 2 hours before, kind of with a little preamble about when it does happen, more or less. This is what this is some of the resources that we have available. We have churches opened up. We have counselors on site, blah, 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 all this. So he's basically saying, we know this is going to happen, so go ahead, have your fun, and we'll try to mop it up when it's all done and leave these innocent people holding the bag that had nothing to do with any of this situation. I'm very, very critical of from the president all the way down to the governor to our leaders here in the state of Missouri. I'm very critical of them for not stepping in and condemning what was going on.
A lot of people that would agree that it wasn't handled properly.
Yeah,
from the very beginning, it wasn't just when the verdict was coming in, but the whole. I mean, from day one.
And they had months to get ready for this, and it was handled no better than it was. There's just no excuse for that. And I would hate to think that if something like that ever reared its ugly head here in Butler County, that we would stand back and let that kind of thing go on. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And I think that's the reason why you don't see stuff like that go on around here. We've had, unfortunately, and I won't get too deep into them, but we've had 2 officer-involved shootings here in Butler County in the last year, in the last 6 months. Haven't had one in years. They happen, unfortunately. They're very, very unfortunate. They're one of the worst things that can happen to a community, to the people, to families, to law enforcement, to the officer.
Nobody wins.
Nobody does. It's an awful situation. But at the end of the day, I can say about this community that people are able to hear the information, to hear what the situation was, and take it for its value and assess it in a common sense manner. I don't think a lot of those folks up there that were going to riot cared what the case was. I don't care. I don't think if they had conclusive video video evidence of what happened, it wouldn't have stopped them from rioting. I think they had it in their mind to do it. They had too much invested. Once the truth started coming out, they still had too much invested. They still had to do what they were going to do, and no one was going to stop them from rioting.
The facts that were being revealed through investigation and through the grand jury didn't faze them at all.
Yeah, it's. I joked about it, but it's no joke at all. But I said that you can't let the facts get in the way of a good riot.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there again, our leaders, there was no one to step up and say, "Hey, wait a second now."
Yeah.
And it just appalls me that we have sports figures, we have actors, we have every celebrity in the world coming out still doing this hands up, don't shoot thing that was proven was not fact.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
That's what I say. The facts
it
just
didn't happen.
Didn't faze them
but
at
yet
all.
we still have people using that as their centerpiece. I don't get it. I don't get it. I could go on all day, but yeah, that was my big take from it. Is just I was really disappointed at our leaders all the way from the White House down to the state capitol that didn't step up and say, hey, this is wrong. And now we're even seeing things where I'm seeing news articles and things like that where the legislature, whether it be on the federal level or here on the state level, are looking at things to do to law enforcement to make us better at our job. What's being done for the thug on the street? What's being done? What kind of laws are going to be passed to help protect police officers? There's one that's killed in the United States every other day. A police officer dies. What's being done to make sure that these people don't fight with the police?
Yeah.
When we talk about body cams and all this kind of stuff, and I'm sorry,
that's a really good point.
It might offend some, but are the people in the legislature, are they going to wear body cams? Is the president going to wear a body cam? Is a doctor?
Are the criminals
is
a
lawyer
required?
Are the criminals? Are they going to be required to wear a body cam?
That's a good point.
So basically, I think in some ways that's a slap in the face. I understand what they're saying. To have that video evidence is good, but they're also, in some sense, saying we don't trust you, so you're going to have to start proving yourself.
I bet that is how it feels.
It feels like they're saying we're going to give the thug the benefit of the doubt and believe him over you first, and to heck with all the witnesses on the street and whatever.
Right.
It's a very frustrating thing. We're looking for, and I hope it doesn't happen, but we're bracing for some very bad laws to come down the pike this year to be instilled upon law enforcement to hinder us even more, as if we need more of a obstacle, to try to get the people that victimize people off the street, as if we needed more things to hamstring us and keep us from doing our jobs. But and all of it done in the name of public popularity. And I think that goes back to the things I was saying about the lack of condemnation of those bad deeds that were done in Ferguson. The things that were said were usually done by most politicians were done based on public popularity.
Yeah.
They said the things that they knew they needed to say. None of them said, "Hey, here's the bitter truth, folks. You're just going to have to take it for what it is." No one did that. No one did that. Everybody. We have a president saying that our police need more training, and how untrusted we are. Well, I disagree with you. And I'm certainly not patting myself on the back. Just the truth of the matter here. I'm in my third term. I've been elected 3 times. So obviously, there's people who have plenty of trust in me. And as far as training, I don't know how training is going to keep people from resisting arrest. In Missouri, here's a sad fact that a lot of people don't know. In Missouri, if you resist arrest and it's a misdemeanor crime that you're resisting, it's only a misdemeanor crime to resist arrest. So in other words, if I try to stop you for speeding out here and you run from me, you've still only committed a misdemeanor.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding you one bit. Now in Arkansas, it's different.
Even though you're putting everybody on the road
absolutely.
at risk.
You could kill a family.
Yeah.
Now, if you commit a felony during that pursuit or whatever, then that's a different issue. Now, if I'm fleeing from a felony matter or resisting arrest, fighting with a police officer when he's trying to arrest me for a felony crime, then that is a felony. But aside from that, absolutely, you can endanger every life in the world, and it's still just a misdemeanor in Missouri. What about that? What about changing things like that make people think about resisting arrest a little more?
Wow.
And the fact of the matter is, you're never going to get shot by a police officer, Brittney, because you're not going to resist arrest. You're not going to charge a police officer. You're not going to try to steal their gun.
I can't imagine me ever being in a situation where I'd try to run or anything else.
If you don't do those things, you really don't have to worry about it. And that's the thing, the sad part that nobody seems to realize. And another thing, like I just mentioned, it's not that big of a deal in a lot of states to resist arrest or to run from the police, and it should be.
Boy, I did not know that.
Yeah, that is a fact.
I would think that every single instance of that would be a felony.
You would think so. You would think so. And like I said, in other states like Arkansas, it is. The second that you run from a police officer or you fight a police officer,
a felony.
it's an automatic felony.
I would think it should be, yeah.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. So
that's
if you
crazy.
talk about things that need to change,
yeah.
that needs to change in Missouri.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. We've actually gone a little long, but
Well, yeah.
I just have to throw in one last thing because I know I've got some people listening right now that are probably going, okay, you guys brought up the officer-involved shootings, but why aren't you asking him about it? Well, because you can't really talk about that yet.
Yeah, the most recent one I can't. It's still under
investigation. We can't really talk about it much. Thus, we wanted to kind of approach from that Ferguson angle where we can actually talk about it. Hopefully, maybe down the road here, maybe we can have a little more discussion.
Absolutely.
This,
that
but just can't happen right now.
No doubt that will, when the investigation concludes, it'll be a very transparent thing, and all the facts will be out there. You know, one of the things when unfortunately that happened with one of our officers back in the early summer, and I literally couldn't wait to get that information out there because I wanted the public to see all the facts of the case and
what led up to it,
and see what led up to it. Because oftentimes in these things, there's so much bad information out there, and that's another thing too with the Ferguson thing. There's so much bad information on both sides.
Gosh, yeah.
On both sides, you can look at social media and see some of the most erroneous, phony nonsense that you can imagine out there on both sides. Both sides. So you got to be really careful what you listen to and actually wait for the concrete fact.
You know, that's a great point for us to end on today.
Yep.
You know, take it with a grain of salt, folks.
Yep. Can't believe everything you read, especially on Facebook.
Exactly. There are some people out there who benefit from misleading you. Whether it's an emotional benefit, a financial benefit, there are people out there that benefit from misleading you. Just remember that. Just remember that. Keep that in mind when you're reading these stories online or you're, checking out some magazine article or whatever the case may be. There are people that will benefit from misleading you.
Absolutely.
Don't let them do it. Thank you, Sheriff.
Fact checked.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Good.
Gosh, I know you're really busy, and I appreciate you taking time to come hang out with us this morning. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Glad to be here as always.
That's it for Brittney on the Bluff for today. Hey, we'll do it again on Monday. I said tomorrow. This is Friday, and we'll do it on Monday right here on Today's Talk KWOC.
With you wherever you go.